I like that she has a black and an Indian accent.
Yeah, she came out with the Hispanic one recently.
I like that.
Did you see her?
The new Hispanic one's pretty tight. Did you see that one?
She's like, hey, f***ers.
Yeah, she goes, I love you guys.
I love you guys too. No, I made it worse. But... Our boy, Mr. Elon Musk, says that Warren Buffett is positioning for a Kamala Harris win with his $277 billion cash pile.
Wow.
As pro-Trumper John Paulson warns of an equity market exit.
The f does that mean?
So, what did you just say?
Basically, what this goes down to is that, is everybody familiar with the tax policy that Kamala's
Yeah, the 25% unrealized
gains tax, and also capital gains tax in general just being increased?
Yeah, it's my dream come true.
Yeah.
But I heard it's only for people with over 100 mil.
So here's the misconception, and feel free to correct me with whatever you might be familiar with. But the problem is everybody's like, oh, well, that's only applicable to people that have a net worth of over $100 million, so it doesn't apply to me. That's indirectly false, because let's say you're even just a regular investor and you have like Roth IRAs or you invest in the stock market. If somebody like Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett suddenly has to get taxed on unrealized gains, number one, he's gonna have to liquidate a ton of his holdings in order to pay his unrealized gains taxes, and whatever he sells off to pay that off, he has to pay capital gains tax on.
You get affected because he's getting affected, kind of?
Yeah. So like no matter what, markets are gonna get exited like crazy. Everything, the entire stock market is gonna crash. Yeah, and it's gonna feel, everyone's gonna feel it. Everybody's positions.
Wow.
From 401ks to retirements and.
I just don't understand how you can even figure out how to tax unrealized gain. Like, so for example, right? What portion of the year are they going to do it at the end of December? On December 31st, they're going to take a snapshot and say, this is what it is?
It's going to be the hardest thing because everybody will have to do it.
Because what if you had a pump during like July? You know? And then everything dips by December 31st.
So now everybody needs the audit.
Yeah, like what's the fiscal cycle?
I haven't read the plan, like whatever it is. So maybe they specify, but it just sounds crazy. Like, how do you tax an unrealized gain? That just makes no sense. You're taxing speculation. You're taxing like something that hasn't been cashed.
But that's the point, though. Most people are brushing it off because it's only for people at a certain wealth bracket. So you think it's not gonna.
But it can hurt. Yeah, in the macro sense, it could hurt everything. Yeah.
It's potential to bankrupt a lot of different people, companies, and stuff like that because of like. How do you pay that off? And then again, to liquidate in order to pay that off, sell shares means that you have to pay taxes on the shares that you sell.
Just sold, yeah.
Bart's dream come true.
I fucking love it. It's so sick.
Why did you vote for that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I love it when she can go between the Indian and then the black accent. It's like, it's my favorite. She picks and chooses what she wants. It's so cool.
Can we ask you how you feel about or understand the tax policy and how that might affect?
I haven't read enough about it to kind of understand how it will affect me. I think I've also been looking at it though as like how it affects me personally and not necessarily what the trickle down effect would actually, how that part would affect me.
That's fair.
So I feel like I'd need to kind of understand more of it, of like to really see like what happens to me, not, you know what I mean, versus like, but I think what you're saying is real interesting because it starts to make total sense, but then yeah, from a systematic kind of way, like where does it actually start and stop, and then the speculation, it seems like it just like opens Pandora's box to like I don't know.
Are they gonna take the highest you made? And what about the other side of like, what if you dip a lot? Do you get to write that off too?
No, you don't. That was specifically, I think.
So there's like no unrealized losses.
Yeah, that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
That part's weird, yeah.
And to me, I'm like, what's the point? Like, what are they trying to do?
And
the whole. Well, again, I think if you're extremely critical of the tax policy, then you're gonna say that there's communist sentiment. The whole concept of ultra taxing the wealthy in order to create a much more equity-based economy and community, right, or society. So, which of course, like, disclaimer, anything of the idealisms of communism are great idealisms technically, but like if they don't work in a capitalist society, or if they don't work well, or they're not well thought out, or like everybody's got questions like how are you gonna make sure everyone self audits in a way that doesn't like completely lead to a sell off that is disastrous for our economy. It's like if we don't have answers to those questions because there's no practicality, then what the fuck's gonna happen?
That's true, yeah.
And this is kind of like unprecedented, right? There hasn't really been policy like this in the past before.
I haven't read it, so I don't know specifics, but my whole thing is like, a lot of these guys, these politicians, they own stocks. They have a fuck ton. Like, this is gonna affect them too.
Yeah.
So, is it one of those things where you have a headline that's kind of provocative, or like, this is what it's called? It's called the whatever, right? And then so people get on board like, yeah, let's tax the rich. That sounds great. But then when you look at it, it's completely off.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not what it's intended to do. So
Because it could morph into something else too, right?
yeah, it could be something completely like not what we think it is.
Or we follow the money, and as the polls start like rolling in, if moves start being made at like huge levels, then you start to understand that what's actually going to happen. I mean, this comes off the heels of hedge fund manager John Paulson, founder of New York-based investment firm Paulson & Co. He said in a media appearance that he would pull his money off the market in the eventuality of a Harris win.
So is that what Warren Buffett? So I know he recently cashed out. So he's saying that it's because of the Harris win he's cashing out.
Paulson's speculation on why
Warren
Buffett's doing that is to make sure that there's a cash pile ready in the eventuality or in the case that Kamala wins.
I thought it was because he was getting ready for the major recession. So
That's what I thought too. Yeah. I thought he was trying to be ready to. So he could
yeah, there was a big announcement that he cashed out.
He literally said, if Harris was elected, I would pull my money from the market. I'd go into cash, I'd go into gold, because I think the uncertainty regarding the plans they outlined would create a lot of uncertainty in the markets and likely lower markets.
Don't you get unrealized gains in gold too? If you bought gold.
It's way more consistent. Over the last like few decades, gold as a rate has been fairly
But then you
consistent.
still gotta pay the unrealized gains of the consistency.
You have to pay unrealized gains for gold?
I don't know if they'll see it as the same.
Isn't that what unrealized gains is like across
It
the
is,
board,
but-
right? Real estate, crypto, stocks,
I don't know what
gold.
in this policy, like what they, like if it's stocks or like if it's real estate or like I don't know what they're specifying. So like let's say you get unrealized gains on your home because of the equity, you know, like do they get 25% of that? Because how are people gonna pay that if they don't have the liquid? They're gonna have to sell their home so they could pay the taxes.
And you gotta pay the capital gains on selling the home.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But then we don't know if homes are in that bracket. It might
we
just-
don't.
I think homes are in that bracket.
Really?
Because the same thing, if you're going to sell off your home, then you're going to be paying a capital gains tax. Anything with a capital gains tax means that there's an unrealized gain as well.
But that's still a guy that's has a net worth of over 100 mil if he sells his home, not if you sell your home, right? Unless you're that guy.
I wish.
I'm not that gacked out.
I like acting offended by this to like make it look like I'm rich.
Oh man, this is gonna really put me in jail.
Jesus Christ, man!
Really fucking me over here.
I don't know.
Like literally, again, I'm not that guy either, but the idea that, same thing, Vice President has proposed a 25% tax on unrealized gains for people having a net worth of $100 million or more. So Paulson says, if implemented, it would cause mass selling of almost everything: stocks, bonds, homes, and art. I think it would result in a crash in the markets and an immediate, pretty quick recession.
You know, I wonder what that audit is even going to look like.
I don't know.
Because it's like, how do you enforce and evaluate what your gains were?
I think anybody who's at that level of like billionaire status is smarter at keeping their money than the government is at taking it. And I think every time the government adjusts, they just get greedier and they keep more of it, and you suffer by their move. Like,
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Hedge fund manager means they're managing everybody else's money.
yeah, I just don't believe that they go, you changed the law, here you go. Like, no way. No fucking way, dude.
Somebody loses.
Well, everyone in business knows, like, these laws, right? It's like to try and go after billionaires, but what the IRS actually does is they go after guys like us that can't afford a lawyer. So these laws are made to go after Amazon. And then they pitch it to the general public and say, this is to stick it to the man, the fucking big corporations, right? But they have all the money in the world to offshore everything, hide their shit. They'll fucking take the hit, pay a little bit of taxes here. But guys in our range, they'll use the same laws, and IRS will go, these guys they're mostly gonna cough up the money.
I just don't
and
think,
they're not gonna fight it. So let's go after these guys. And that's the racket.
Yeah, I just don't think any law has ever passed or even administered unless someone lobbied for it.
Yeah.
So I think like this happening is in someone else's plan to gain money from it. I don't think it literally is like, oh, the government's gonna get rich off these rich guys. No, I think the rich guys at the top want this to happen because they have a contingency where they benefit in a way that like looks like a loss. That's my stupid conspiracy, at least. Because like,
Well, none of those guys, I mean,
lobbied.
they all got like an Irish company. Like, they're not.
Yeah, I don't think it affects them.
Yeah.
But I think it's meant to look like it's supposed to, which is what rallies the support of like, yeah, let's get them. And then those guys are like, yeah, get us. You know, it's like a big, it's like theater, you know?
But I think it sets a precedence for, okay, you do it to those guys, and then you can move the needle to now guys with 10 mil, now guys with 1 mil, now guys with 100K. And it just keeps them. You set a precedent
Guys with
for
1K
that.
too?
Yep. Oh my god. Hey, by the way, if you
Talked about us.
this guy's 10 mil at Celebrity Net Worth.
Hey, I paid 1K to get that.
I don't think any of that stuff is good, because it's just.
I think it's for the voters mainly. That's just what I think.
I like that she has a black and an Indian accent.
Yeah, she came out with the Hispanic one recently.
I like that.
Did you see her?
The new Hispanic one's pretty tight. Did you see that one?
She's like, hey, fuckers.
Yeah, she goes, I love you guys.
I love you guys too. No, I made it worse. But